Welcome, everybody, to the Jolie Podcast, Episode 2, the only podcast where we will name a kicker the Player of the Week. I'm Joseph, and as always, I will be joined by
Lee. Hey, what's up? What's going on, everyone? My name is Lee, and welcome back to our second podcast.
Yes. So we got a couple things to talk about. We will talk about the results of Week 3. We will also be talking about predictions for Week 4 and some other NFL news happening right now. So, without further ado, let's start. So, NFL Week 3 results. Panthers and Texans, 24-9. I think we both called this one.
Yeah, we called it this one.
That the Panthers were going to just destroy them since they had no QB. There was like no doubt in anyone's mind that the Panthers were going to win. Sam Darnold has been playing, amazing. And that's all I could say about the Panthers is they're consistently good. So hopefully.
Well, we'll have to see. There are 14 more games. I don't know if 3-0 is just like a pure luck. But granted, it was not like a very interesting game according to many people, but a good win for the Panthers.
I mean, I didn't watch it because I have other things to do on Sunday as well. But I don't think Deshaun Watson was on the field, was he?
No, I don't know. But it was just really awfully slow game. It was hard. I remember I texted you saying, "Oh my God, this game was so slow," and it was gonna score. Like it was not a good game, but nevertheless, I mean, at least Panthers were able to score some runs, make it look more interesting and more entertaining for people.
Yeah. Okay, so the Colts versus the Titans. Yeah, I think we said as well, another situation where they were missing their quarterback, and 25-16, Titans come on top. We talked about Derrick Henry just being an absolute beast last week, and he has mounted and he has brought his team to another victory here. Carson Wentz did not play, as far as I remember. Did you?
Yeah, he did not. Okay. No. But it was expected that Titans came up on top for this game.
Yeah. So now Titans go to 2-1 and the Colts go to 0-3. Do you think this officially makes the Colts a bad team?
No, I wouldn't say that. I think we had this discussion like in person or through text about whether like if you go 0-3, then your season is over. I think it's still too early to say. If you kind of look around the league, you start to notice that there seems to be more injuries being reported every week or on a daily basis. So don't count them out yet.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You can't really call, like, if you have talent on the team, you can't really say that the season's over or that they're a bad team. I think maybe like around between weeks 5 to 6, we can start formulating more opinions about whether a team is good or not, because you can kind of start seeing the shape of the playoff picture during those weeks. Now with 17 games, one would argue that maybe it's around the 8 or 9 area for win-losses for teams. But I would say around week 5 or 6 is when we're going to see if a team is good or bad. I don't think the Colts are bad. I think they're just missing the QB. And with the Carson Wentz injury, they're just a little down on luck right now. Ironic because their logo is a horseshoe. But,
right.
Yeah, 0-3. I think the Colts can come back if they can figure out their quarterback situation with Carson Wentz or whatnot. Yeah, I expect them to at least get a couple wins against teams like New York or the Jets. I don't know if they play them in the future. Against the Texans, I think they are far more organized than the Texans are. So we will see. We'll see if they can mount a comeback. Okay, Falcons and Giants.
I don't quite remember how we called this one.
I don't remember either.
I remember that we were saying it's kind of like a coin toss, right?
Yeah, they're both in a really like bad predicament.
Mm-hmm.
but the Falcons have not been looking that good since the beginning of the season, and neither have the Giants. And so I see the Falcons have a record of 1-2 now because they just defeated the Giants. So the Falcons are in this weird territory right now where they're like not good enough to be like a mid team, but they're not bad enough to be called like bad, unlike
Hmm.
New York. So I don't know. Again, we'll have to see what's up with the Falcons and if they can sort out, I guess whatever's going on over there. They seem to have pretty decent amount of talent, and I'm just wondering why it's going to waste over there.
Yeah, yeah. It's really hard to say here,
Because
right?
they drafted Kyle Pitts, right?
Uh,
I think Falcons drafted Kyle Pitts, so like they have a premier tight end.
mhm.
Um, I'm just wondering, like, and their quarterback's relatively decent. So I'm very confused as to why they're not like at least winning some like close games with other teams. So
I do feel like what is difficult is that like as fans, we always feel like once you incorporate the right pieces, then things will work out. But I don't feel like that's always the case, especially if you're drafting somebody who's right out of the college. Uh, then it's very different than you get someone from the free agency, right? So I do feel like if you have been playing in the pro level for a while, then maybe the fit will be more. You can see the impact more immediate than someone you draft early on. So I think that's something I think they're still trying to uh, work on, and then hopefully we'll see some uh, impacts soon.
yeah. All right. Bengals and the Steelers.
I think we got this one wrong.
Yeah,
Uh,
we got it wrong. Wow, Bengals
I,
24-10. And from the highlights that I've seen, Ben looks horrible. Like he tripped on himself on one play from throwing the ball.
he didn't get tripped on. He tripped himself.
Yeah, he tripped himself on one
Oh
play. He
wow.
was like he like threw the ball at his receiver and he tripped on himself. it,
Honestly, I thought it was funny. He said like he felt like he was in his best shape of life. Like at the beginning of the season, and I was like, oh wow, I think Steelers they're gonna have an amazing season. Um, but it looks like looking at their record with 1-2, I'm just like, I'm not quite sure about that.
yeah. Um, I don't know if you've ever watched Urinating Tree on YouTube, but
Mm.
he has stronger words to describe his quarterback. He calls him Captain Fat, and then a colorful word at the end. And I just love that channel, like seeing the Days of Our Steelers series. And I can't wait till he makes like the next episode or series of it. I think it's gonna be hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, the Big Ben has been like working out. I thought, like when he say he's like in better shape, I don't know.
I'm just surprised that the Steelers haven't tried like moving on from Big Ben. So
I think they're well. I think maybe this is like the last season that we'll see him play. Who knows, right?
probably if it can't be a winning season or a playoff season, I just don't see them bringing him back. Like, do you think if they lose enough, they try to tank to get
I was thinking about the same thing,
to
but
get?
that wouldn't be fair to the fans, right? Because obviously there are a lot of Steelers fans out
I
there.
mean, there's Jaguars fans and they still tanked.
Ah, man, but it's hard, like to tank and to just draft a quarterback, and then we don't even know if they're good
Right.
quarterbacks in the upcoming draft, right?
Yes. Chargers didn't have to tank and they got Justin Herbert. So,
Yeah. Yeah, or unless they somehow they can magically identify the next Tom Brady,
which
you know.
people can't. It's not gonna
Right.
happen.
I think it's hard.
Yeah.
I think it's super hard. And then just looking around the league, which we'll talk about pretty soon when we get to those teams, is that we start seeing that rookie quarterbacks being sacked, being hit a lot. Like it's like there's no indication of success once you draft a quarterback, right? So there's a process that they kind of have to go through before you see how much an impact they have on the field. But as of now, it doesn't look that way. It just looked terrible. But yeah, we'll talk about it once we get to those teams.
Yeah. Bears and Browns. Speaking of rookie quarterbacks, Justin Fields started this game.
Not surprised. Hey.
And they didn't look good. One touchdown. And wait, is that no? That's not even a touchdown. Those are 2 field goals.
Yeah. So what happened was like somebody was saying that Matt Nagy should be fired, right? And it was weird because they have Nick Foles on the teams, I think, still, and they're not even playing him, right? They're not even playing him, or I don't know what happened to them, but essentially what happened is that Justin Fields are being sacked left and right like a potato, and so like how many times can you afford to see Justin Fields being sacked? Like, let's say.
Actually, there's a stat right here. It says that Chicago had 1 net passing yard. So
they're not even moving forward.
So they move forward, like if you add all the forward yards and all the like sacks, it's a total of 1 yard.
Oh my god,
crazy!
They weren't going anywhere with that game, right? And it sounds like every time when they were able to gain some yards, but then because of the sack, they start losing yardage again. So it was just insane. So I don't know how long they will allow. How long can they allow to see Justin Fields being sacked left and right? And I feel like as a quarterback, that kind of sucks, right? Like it's almost like, what is my offense line doing here? It's not even protecting me, right?
Right. And then, the Browns are just like, it's crazy to think that this team went from like in like 2015 to 2017 from being such a horrible team to like probably the top team in the NFL now. Like,
wow, they're hot. Wins. Yeah, they're hot right now. Like they had a shot in week 1 against the Chiefs. They came up short, but Browns are a good team.
Yeah. I think Browns are in an upward momentum right now. I would not be surprised if they are a better team right now than the Chiefs are. I think if there was a rematch right now, I think the Browns would win.
But I think it's going to be a close game still. But then
it's going to be a total shootout. Yeah, these are 2 very offensive-minded teams.
Exactly.
I don't know if they meet again, but if they did, I think the Browns would win. Okay, the Ravens and the Lions, a game that I've been wanting to talk about. I cannot believe that I got this close.
No, I thought it was gonna be a blowout. To be honest, I thought it was
gonna be a blowout too. I mean, the Ravens had that showout against Kansas City, so it was a little weird to see them struggle against the Lions.
It was actually a good game for the Lions, to be honest.
Yeah. The Lions seem to have tried to recover, and Jared Goff did seem to have a better game that day than he did like the last 2 weeks. I don't know if it's because he's getting used to the new system, but he did seem to be showing some improvement during that game.
Yeah.
And that'll lead us to talking about our player of the week, which is Justin Tucker, the kicker for the Baltimore Ravens, with that clutch last-second kick for 66 yards, which is the longest in NFL history. It's crazy to think that this man was able to do that.
Yeah, what was the last record? Was it 62 or 64, right? 64, I think was the record. Yeah. And then 66, this is the new record. And if you look at the if you look at the clip there, it was kind of funny because the ball actually hits the it was enough to hit the top of the bar, right? The
Yeah, like
crossbar,
it hits the
and
top and then it
and then it
bounces
went in,
over.
and
Yeah.
it kind of like ricocheted a little bit, and then it went in, and so like they count that one. So I'm just like, wow, that's unbelievable. And you can see like Dan Campbell's like face; he couldn't believe what he saw, right? Because he thought his Lions will win the
I
game.
mean, that was history, man.
Yeah, it was incredible. But if you look at and so people were like, oh, so what is Justin Tucker did like during the off season? Apparently, he showed up at a university football stadium. He was practicing his like 70-yard attempt field goal, and he made it 70 yards. And so I don't know what's gonna happen. Hopefully, Ravens didn't have to do that in the future. But can you imagine that with like few seconds left, you have your kicker in, and to kick a 70-yard field goal?
Um, yeah, I mean, I think Justin Tucker is approaching like that level of like just, I guess, legendary status for a kicker. I mean, breaking the record. I mean, what more can you do than that?
I mean, it's such a threat.
And
Like, I feel like if you have a special team with a kicker, that is so scary. Like that could be a threat to many teams. Like you don't want them to kick field goal. Uh, Not only you don't want them to score a touchdown, you don't want to give them the opportunity to kick a field goal. But this guy can kick from almost everywhere, right?
right.
Um,
Do you want to talk
so
about the stats that you were showing me right before the show?
yeah. So basically, there's stats done by NFL, right? So because like people this year they have this event called Big Data Bowl. So what they do is that they a lot of analysts or like football enthusiastic or football analysts, they would kind of like work on the data set to analyzing the things that the NFLs are looking for. So this year they're focusing on special teams, right? And so it just so happened that Justin Tucker, he made that field goal. And so everyone was like, oh my God, now we could like analyzing the kicker. And so what they did is that they look at data, I believe starts from 2018, the season and onward, and analyzing which kicker has the most accurate kick and how many of the kicks are missed. And it turns out that Justin Tucker has very accurate kick. Like most of his kicks are in the middle. Okay, so you think about the bars, um, the field goal crossbar. You see that most of his kicks are in the middle, super accurate. He only missed a few times, but he's probably like one of the most accurate compared to other kickers or punters. So I thought that was pretty neat. So yeah.
Yeah, by the way, Lee is a mathematician, and he knows a lot more about this than I do. Uh, so yeah, stats,
Yeah.
standard
So
deviations, all that cool
yeah,
stuff.
that was actually plotting that. Like so, if you see the chart, basically they kind of plot the distribution where they count how many times the kick was in the middle. They tally it up. So the higher the bar indicates how many kicks are in that region, right? So it was really cool to see that Justin Tucker was like like stands out in that chart. And then that data was like what from 2018 and onward. So he has been good. It's not like oh he was only good on Monday, you know.
Yeah, yeah, and like with him, Josh Lambo, and then Matt. I don't know how to pronounce that. Prater, and they seem pretty good. Everyone else seems to have a lot of in their like red zone.
Right. So like Prater, he actually made like 62 yards attempt with the Cardinals like 2 weeks ago. So like people were like, oh my God, somebody kick another 62 yards. But I thought he was the person who actually set the record of 64 many years ago. But now we got a new record, 66. So next one, maybe it's going to be 70 yards. Who knows? Maybe one day somebody going to attempt 90 yards. I don't think that's going to happen, but who
No,
knows?
a lot of teams, special teams, aren't in the best condition right now. It seems to be a weakness in the league. Maybe it's
Mm-hmm.
because of the whole emphasis. Maybe it's because in high school and in college you're mostly trying to focus on offense and defense.
Mm-hmm.
It seems weird that like football hasn't really tried to like scout for like kickers and stuff like that.
Yeah, because you could see like the amazing things they can do, right? Like 66 yards. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like every time when somebody's trying to attempt like 60 yards or like even anything beyond 45-yard lines, I'm just like they're gonna miss. Like that's just my go to go code. So they're gonna miss. But
Yeah.
now I think a lot more kickers are more accurate now. Just as many as there are many bad kickers, there are pretty much a lot of good kickers too. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was actually talking with my dad about like the whole special teams like kicker situation and how like that's all messed up and stuff like that. And he was saying, "Well, I just don't understand why they don't get like soccer players to like come and kick these field goals." And I'm like, "Well, there's two reasons. One, it's a different skill set. Like soccer skill set is way more challenging than football skill set. And it's also
Mm-hmm.
just different. Like the ball is different, the what you're trying to do is different. Like you're trying to be either accurate, you're trying to be accurate, and you're also trying to like either kick it to the 1 yard line or just kick it out of bounds and give the other team the starting
Right.
position at 25. So
Mm-hmm.
he was like, I still feel like they should get like soccer players, and then I was like, well, you also have to understand like any soccer player worth his salt isn't gonna go to the NFL. Like they're gonna go to the European leagues and play soccer over there. And he was
Oh
like,
yeah,
and he
they
was
make
like,
more money there. You
he was
know,
like,
like you don't.
no, like yeah, exactly, exactly. I was telling him they just make more money, and he was like, no, they don't. And I'm like,
They do.
yes, they do. And so I looked up the net worth of Tom Brady, and he was like, no soccer player can beat that. And then I look up the net worth of Messi, and Messi's was like crazy, like he buried Tom Brady, and my
Yeah.
dad was just like jaw dropped because he thought football, like American football, was bigger than the soccer, and I was like, no, man, like
No.
soccer is just much of a bigger sport in Europe and Latin America than it is, I mean, in the world than it is here in the United States.
Yeah. Yeah. I think American football is only played like in the US and you have something very
In
similar in
Canada, yeah.
Canada, and then that's it. Um, and so like with soccer, pretty much everywhere people play soccer. You have a market in Asia as well. So that's pretty big. So if I were a soccer player, I would still stay in soccer. I'll make more money
Oh yeah.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, it was an interesting conversation. It's more of a casual conversation, obviously nowadays.
Maybe you if you have a retired soccer player that wants to be a kicker, maybe that could be a
Maybe.
possibility. But why would they, right? Because if they make a lot of money already, like why would you risk to come out to kick and get hurt, right? Like there's always like a risk to playing American football. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Back on topic. We
Mhm.
will go into Saints and Patriots. 28-13. I didn't watch this game.
But you got it
Uh,
right. I got it wrong. I thought the Patriots had a good chance on this one, but no, no.
no, I mean Mac Jones is a rookie still. Um, and that team is still trying to develop an identity.
Yeah,
So uh, I can't remember which one I called. Maybe I did call the Saints. Maybe I didn't.
you did call the
Okay.
Saints. Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah. The Saints make sense that they won.
Hmm.
They just know what they're doing now.
Hmm.
All right.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Cardinals and Jaguars. 31-19.
Not
Cardinals.
surprised at
Not
all.
not surprised. I think we talked about this, and it was
Hmm.
gonna be a decisive win for the Cardinals.
Hmm.
Um. Yeah. All right. Washington and the Bills. I was completely wrong. You were completely right. Because I said the Washington football team had a chance, and they didn't.
No, I think it's fun to watch Henneke do the football. To be honest, I really like the quarterback, but I just don't feel like it was enough, right? I don't think it's enough for them. Like maybe it's enough, but then there's something that they need to do better off like defensively or offensively, right? I think they're still missing a couple pieces. before they get there. And the thing is that the Bills is they're really good, you know.
Yeah. I just think that um, Josh Allen had a good game, and or he had a really good game, so that's why it was a lot more of a decisive win for the Bills. I think
Hmm.
that they're gonna continue building momentum, and yeah, probably see him in the playoffs again.
And it's gonna be tough. I think they might be better this year. Who knows?
My soul is cursed because I had to watch this god awful game. The Jets and the Broncos.
Oh, I refuse to watch this game. Like I know you sent a screenshot of the score and then whatever it is, but I'm just like, I knew this was gonna happen, but I didn't know that Judge will not score any point. Like that, that was like I cannot explain why they couldn't score any point, right?
Yeah, so my buddy is a hardcore Broncos fan, and I was at his house watching the game, and
Uh-huh.
his dad on in the other room had the L.A. Tampa Bay game going on,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, it's already over after the first quarter, and I was telling him, can we like switch over to another game? And he was like, no, we gotta watch the rest of the Broncos game, even if they're winning by a lot. And I was like, fine, whatever. So like occasionally I would go and I would peek at the other game, and it was dude, this game was so boring. Like you knew after the first quarter it was over. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the Broncos, man, they're like in their own category because they're like almost equivalent to the 0-3 teams because you don't know if they're good because they've played some garbage opponents.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Like based on this, can we say Broncos are good? I think they just have a lot of good luck to play with pretty bad teams to begin with, right? So I don't know. It's hard for me to form an opinion about the Broncos, but I hope that they play well this season. That would be really fun to watch, right?
Yeah, I think the AFC West is just in a very competitive state right now. All the
Mm-hmm.
teams seem to be pretty good. Um, but like you said, only two teams from the or AFC West can make it into the playoffs. So it's going to be a battle between these teams. The divisional games are going to be mean more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
And well, we'll get to some more divisional discussion for the AFC West when we get to
Right.
that. The Dolphins and the Raiders. Oh man, I was really hoping the Dolphins were going to be able to pull this one out.
No, what I forget how we call this one here. Right. I don't remember.
I
I think
think
it.
I think I called the Raiders winning this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They've just been on a roll.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
They're a
know
good
if
team
I
though.
don't recall you mentioning the Dolphins,
No, I
but
thought I remember probably I said that it was gonna
two,
be really
yeah,
close.
Tua seemed to be playing better this game, but
Mm.
it seems like Derek Carr is again. It's too early, but people are trying to say that he's the dark horse for the MVP conversation. I think he
But it's only
is.
been 3 games.
Yes, it's only been 3 games, but he is the stat leader for passing yards. I think he had 400 yards for each game he's had this season.
Wow.
So
But I
he's
just feel
definitely
like
pretty good.
almost every game was so close. I think the Raiders are doing the Raiders thing. Like it's so close. Like they
Yeah, they're
won by
starting
three
out.
points.
Last year they started out strong. I think they went 6-0 or
Mm-hmm.
6-1, something like that.
Yeah.
And then as soon as they played the Chargers, they lost, and then they just went on a downhill spiral. I don't think that's going to be the case here. They're actually looking more consistent, and they've proven themselves against other teams that one would think are tougher teams than they are. So
Mm-hmm.
I think we just need to keep an eye on them. I think they're really strong, and they make me a little nervous when talking about the AFC West.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Seahawks Vikings. Wow, I thought this was going to be closer.
No, I somehow I knew this game was gonna go with Vikings. I don't know. I'm just thinking that there's something weird about the Seahawks. I don't know what it is. Um, but then given how well the Vikings played the week before, I feel like they had a good shot. I think they could carry that momentum. So when I saw they actually won and beat Seahawks, I was kind of like, whoa, kind of shocked. But then I was kind of like happy too because I don't want Seahawks to play that well either. It was
Yeah,
good. Good. It's a good win
it's
for Vikings.
yeah, it's a good win for the Vikings. The Seahawks seem to be either choking leads or something's going on over there. I can't
Yeah,
really
they're
talk about too much about it because it's not a team that I follow too closely.
right.
But
I just feel like Seahawks could, it's weird that they started the season like this because they used to be like always like on top, like a neck to neck to the Rams, right?
yeah,
So I'm just a little bit surprised, but I wouldn't be surprised if they play really well, like for the next few games or so. Who knows? The season is still very long.
yeah, I definitely think it's too early to be calling anything, especially with 17 games. They could
Hmm.
always bounce back.
Right.
Buccaneers Rams.
Oh,
Thank you, God. Thank you for beating Tom Brady.
but I do think that I think we get this call, and maybe you got it right. I did have this one wrong, right? So, uh, this one I thought the score would be closer. I don't know if you would consider 10 points being close. I wouldn't. Certainly, I wouldn't think it's close, right? Because it would be one touchdown and one field goal. Um, but it was a good win for the Rams. They came out, they tried to prove themselves that they can beat the defending champion. So they did their job. And I
Yeah,
have to say that Matthew Stafford looks super comfortable. Like I look at the highlights, I was like, man, the old line was amazing. Like they were able to keep the defense out as long as possible for Stafford to pass to do a dime or something like that. So I thought it was really good.
yeah. I think Stafford has proven that he's actually a pretty good quarterback, and
Mhm.
the system that he's in right now seems to be like his style too. Um, so
Yeah.
yeah, he's been showing out. I think they are definitely, in my opinion, maybe the number one team right now. Well, we'll have to do a power rankings one of these days.
Yeah, I'm certainly down to do that, but I do feel like they probably are. What would be interesting is to see them playing against the Raiders, and I want to see how they fare against each other, right? And
Yeah, they're
that
both.
would be very interesting because people think Raiders are pretty good too, and so we'll have to see if they're actually, maybe then we'll know which team is slightly better. But I think, like you said, it's still too early to say anything.
I am looking right now to see if they ever play each other. I don't know why it's only showing certain. Okay, okay. Here I got ESPN. So they do not play the Raiders at all.
Oh man.
So yeah, that kind of
Okay.
sucks. Oh
Oh
well,
well.
yeah. But yeah. Cooper Cup had a great day. And again, Matt Stafford just showing out. I don't think I I don't think Tom Brady looked bad. I just think that something wasn't clicking, or they were just not going at the as fast as a pace as the Rams were.
Right.
So
I think the Rams actually outpaced the Buccaneers. I think Tom Brady wasn't bad at all. He was just being himself. I think given the score that they got 24, I thought that was pretty good for the Bucks. I think they did what they need to do, but it was just not enough to slow the Rams down.
yeah.
Hmm.
All right. Final game before we start talking about our teams.
There are
The
only two games. There are a bunch of them we haven't talked about. Like what was it?
no,
We haven't talked about the Eagles and Cowboys.
that's the last one.
We also, yeah, okay, good. Because
Okay.
I was like, man, there are three teams we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Eagles Cowboys.
no opinion on that one. I think that was expected. I think I had that call wrong. I just say like I remember I said something like I think they're pretty close to each other. Um, But yeah, Cowboys prove it's trying to prove themselves too. They want to make sure that they stand out in the division.
Yeah, I think this put away any doubts that the Cowboys are not a good team. They're also in there in the top 10. They're just talented team. Dak's playing really good football. Zeke's running good football.
Hmm.
There's nothing bad to say about this team. Maybe the defense, but that's really only up against like other like offensive type teams.
Right, right.
They'll go blow for blow, and I think that's where the losses are gonna come from. Is from high paced teams. I couldn't see the Ram. I couldn't see them beating the Rams, but I could certainly see them beating a team like the Chargers.
Yeah, possibly. Um, but who knows, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see, Lee. You watched the Packers and the Niners game. I did not.
I actually follow very close to the game. I was actually at a friend's house, like, cause I took my car to a shop, to to have my brakes inspected, so I didn't have that. And then afterward, I picked up my car and then just went to my friend's house. And I don't have a TV, but while they were chatting, listening to music, I was following the game. I was gonna like, yeah, there was not much to expect because the Packers, they're legitimately a good team. So when they were trailing by 10 points in the halftime, I was just like, yeah, maybe it's getting over. Aaron Rodgers is that good. He's good quarterback. And then you start seeing something's happening, right? Like the second half, the Niners start coming back. Um, they start scoring touchdown. Right. So they scored 7 points in the third quarter. Packers didn't score anything. And then they scored more points in the fourth quarter. At one point, with 37 seconds left, you wouldn't believe what happened. So, Niners scored a touchdown. So they were leading by a point. So 27-28, 37 freaking seconds. Okay. Now, the thing that really bugs me is that the clock management. Because you would think that 37 seconds is not enough for Aaron Rodgers, you would be dead wrong. Okay. Because that was the thing I was worried about. They weren't running the ball. The only problem with this game that I would criticize is that there were way too many passing, not enough running. I guess the reason could be because they got a lot of running backs injured, right? So there are just not that many people can run. And so they end up passing so much. And that really didn't slow the clock down, right? You want to kill some time, but they couldn't. Even the drive to touchdown to Kyle Juszczyk, I thought they can kill the time a little bit, right? So if you run the ball, kill a few seconds, get a second down or third down, I think you still have the opportunity to score a touchdown if you're within 1 yard. There's no reason for you not to score a touchdown then. But apparently they didn't realize that, that 2 minutes warning and even that 37 seconds matters a lot, given that they were only leading by 1 point,
Right.
And so Aaron Rodgers did his thing. And then what was frustrating was that nobody double team Devontae Adams. He was being targeted 18 times during that game. And so with back-to-back passing to Devontae Adams, they were closer to the field goal line, and then they kicked the ball. I think with 4 seconds left, and then they won the game by 2 points. And so that was frustrating for me. I was like, the entire time we fought from the first quarter to the last quarter, finally leading by 1 point with 37 seconds left, and then we managed to lose this game. I'm just why? And then people blame on the defense team a lot, but I'm just saying that if the offense did enough, enough clock management, I think this will help. But what was really weird about this whole thing is that the Packers use up all their timeout. They don't have any timeouts left, right? The Niners had 3. Okay. Think about it. 37 seconds left, three timeouts. They didn't use. I don't think they use any of them. And
Wow.
so that was like I mean maybe in my opinion I think that if you call a timeout that will kind of like change the momentum a little bit maybe. And you knew that the Packers they didn't have any timeout, so they just keep gonna run the ball no matter what because like the time is against them. But anyway, that was only one thing I feel like that was the issue for the Niners. I felt like they didn't learn from the Raiders or any other teams that had to deal with clock management issue. So we could have won that game and be 3-0 and not having to like be annoying and get frustrated with Jimmy G, which honestly I thought he played a good game. He was just being Jimmy G, right? If you get like you do one interception or have one fumble, he was just being himself. And honestly, the whole game he was good. Trey Lance only came in to help scoring a touchdown at the red zone, and that was pretty much it.
Did he run
So
it
I
in?
would say this game, I think Jimmy G did really well. I think there's some concern about the defense. I think the offense was a little bit of concerning too. Um, but other than that, it was a good game. It was obviously sad to see them lose at home because that was the first. It was the game home opener, right? Uh, but it is what it is. You gotta learn and move on from this and play better.
I wouldn't be too like. Obviously, yes, you want to be worried about defenses, but it seems like when it comes to these like high-powered offenses, like it's it seems like the offenses are getting a lot more, I guess, better than the defenses are, and I think a lot of it is attributed to the fact that the NFL has this emphasis on calling a lot of flags on defensive plays. So
Yeah,
it's
I agree.
possible that like players are trying to either not be as aggressive as they were before.
Hmm.
So the whole dynamic of defense is changing due to these calls being made. I think Tom Brady was the one who said that the league is getting soft. I neither agree nor disagree with that statement, but I think it's trying to. I think the NFL is trying to find a meta where like the defenses can play
Hmm.
um, in a more effective way. I think the
Yeah.
Rams have figured it out. How to
Hmm.
how to get how to do defensive plays without like messing it
Right.
up too much or getting too many flags. But I think the league is gonna have to like adjust to these new rules.
Yeah, I think the whole point was trying to protect the players, right? They don't want like literally they don't want a player. They know this is a violent game, but they don't want it to be too rough where you constantly get player injuries and stuff like that. And as a matter of fact, like all those like a pass interference for the Niners game and the Packers, they all result in scoring points, right? So they actually scored. So there were like three pass interference, and then as a result of this, uh, they all result in scores. And so that was really frustrating because of this calls. Like I'm just like, well, you get that if you get called for that, then you just lose some yards and you give your opponent opportunities to score. And it's just very unfortunate for the Niners. They had one pass interference and they lost the possession, and so the Green Bay, they were able to take advantage of this and score like a touchdown or something. Um, but yeah, it was hard. But I mean, it was a good game. Like I just like it was hard. Like it was like 37 seconds left. Come on, like guys, let's just making sure that like Aaron Rodgers don't do like a long ball. And some people say that he's Aaron Rodgers. It's like Tom Brady. He could potentially throw a Hail Mary and then somebody would cut the ball, right? Like you never know what's gonna happen, right? So I just feel like 37 seconds was just too much for him.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Chargers. So
Mm-hmm.
they actually did pretty well last Sunday. So they played against the Chiefs and we won. Uh, I th- I I remember saying as long as they clean up their mistakes from previous weeks, they will be able to win. and they
Were you
did.
surprised at all?
I was not surprised
Mm.
that they won when they cleaned up their mistakes. If it would have been the same situation as last week, I would have not been surprised if they had lost. But like I said last week, they managed to clean up pretty much all their mistakes. So I'm going to bring up some Justin Herbert stats right now. Let's see. So on the screen, well, the viewers can see, Lee cannot see, but I'll be talking about it. Against the Cowboys, Justin Herbert had 2 interceptions and 2 sacks. And this week he had 0 turnovers, and he only had 1 sack. And I can't remember it being that big of a deal for that one. So it seemed like a lot of it was cleaned up, and it also shows by the yardage. Actually, Justin Herbert had 281 yards, passing yards, and this was less than his previous game where he had 338. So he was more effective with the yards given than he this week than he was last week. So 30-24. Now, I will say the Chargers almost did mess this whole thing up because they started with a 14. Was it 14 nothing? I think it was 14
Yeah, there
14
were
nothing lead.
I remember I was waiting at the car shop and he texted me that there were 14 nothing. So they were leading, yeah.
Yeah, and so they almost did the thing that the Chargers usually do, which is blow the game.
Mm.
And yeah, the Chiefs managed to make a comeback during the second half. But the reason why the Chargers were able to stay in this game was because the defense made 4 turnovers, which is crazy to think. Yeah, so the defense definitely showed up this game in Arrowhead, which was, crazy in and of itself. And yeah,
I think what happened with this game is that I think Chiefs weren't being themselves. Like they made a lot of mistakes. It was like there was like a fumble right in like the first quarter or the second quarter. I think Mahomes threw an interception. Um, right, and so I was like, oh well, I think maybe
two interceptions.
10 interception. Uh, so yeah, like that was a little bit surprising for me, because
Yeah.
like from Patrick Mahomes, really, yeah.
The,
But the first interception was really off. It was really off, right? So,
yeah,
because
so
he's
he passed it to Kelsey, and then Kelsey didn't catch it, and it bounced off of his hands. And
right,
then, oh my goodness, Asante Samuel Jr.,
that was a
again,
beautiful
another
interception.
amazing game
My
by him.
goodness, yeah,
This man literally dove for the ball like it was a baby.
yeah. That was like that looks like a dive, right? He kind of dive into it and just catch the ball, right? Yeah, so that was pretty.
Yeah, you always hear coaches saying, "You gotta dive for the ball. You gotta dive for the ball," and then like maybe they don't do it, or like you'll see in the NFL like they won't try it because they don't want to get injured. No, this man literally went in like head first trying to get this interception,
Hmm.
and I think it's just him trying to like prove himself to his team. But my goodness, this man showed up, and it totally showed. Obviously, there was other key defensive players, but I mean, his play just stands out more than the rest.
Yeah, it was super exciting to see that. And it was good that the Chargers take an early lead in the game because I really feel like it was needed. Because the Chiefs actually scored 14 points in the third quarter.
I
Uh,
mean, the Chiefs are just a comeback machine. I think they have the most comebacks in the second half than any other team last year. So
right, but it was just scary. Yeah, any given time, you just don't want to give the ball to Patrick Mahomes. That's basically what it is,
yeah,
right?
and towards the end of the game, you could really see that the game was tied up, and they
Hmm.
could have gone for the field goal, but Vic Vizcaino. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Vizcaino had already missed the field goal not a field goal, an extra point from the
Mm-hmm.
22-yard line, and the offensive coaches and Brandon Staley didn't really think that that would have been a good play on 4th and 9 to go for
Mm-hmm.
the field goal. So instead, they put Justin Herbert back out there, and they managed to get a first down, and the touchdown was passed to Mike Williams, who also had a really good game. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
try to pull his stats, but
But it
yeah,
was did that happen in the second quarter, right? I remember because I remember there's when
no,
I
it
was
happened. It happened at the end of the game,
oh, so
and
they
and
so they
so
tried
this.
twice, right? So they were doing they were uh they were at fourth down, and I remember that instead of going for I think in the second quarter they did the same thing, right? So they instead of going for a field goal, I think they just go for I think it's a field goal or a punt, but I didn't go for it. They just go
y-
for it. They
Yeah,
continue to have the Herbert stay in the field, right?
yeah. The
And
Chargers don't really trust their special teams, and I don't blame them. It's our special teams have always been bad. I would not leave the hands of the game on Vizcaino. I
Mhm.
100% trust Justin Herbert more than I do Vizcaino. So
I think the coaching staff actually hurts you. So they just go like fourth down. Oh, no problem. We're just gonna go for it.
yeah,
I
so
would too. I'm a big fan of like going fourth, unless you're like you have like 25 yards to go, then I'd be like, okay, never mind. That's not gonna happen, you know. But if you're like a within like 10 yards or like if you're like 4th and 1, you should just go for it, right?
yeah. Okay, so Mike Williams. Oh my goodness, this man is probably receiver number one on the team at this point.
Mm.
He had 122 yards, um, receiving yards, and his average yard per play was 17.4. I mean, this man
Wow.
is just playing on a different level right now.
My goodness.
So I don't know, man. Keenan Allen is. I'm not saying Keenan Allen is Keenan Allen. He's always been good. He's always been underrated. But Mike Williams, I think, is honestly becoming better than him.
No, I think from a team's perspective, I think this is good, right? You want all your players to play at their top level. So I think this is good.
Yeah, I'm actually pulling up. Keenan Allen only had 50 yards, but I don't want to make him seem like he's not doing good work because during the Dallas game he had 108 receiving yards, and
Mm-hmm.
then the previous week in Washington he had 100 receiving yards as well. So yes, he's in a slump right now, but it seems like there are other players on that team that are picking up the slack that maybe he was having during that game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah. Guyton is playing incredible. Eckler is playing also like really good. I would
Mm-hmm.
like to go back when I have some time and compare his stats from last year to this year, because I think he has running yards and he has receiving yards as well. Because he's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like a hybrid receiver at times when he needs to be.
Right.
Yeah. So, and you also have the I forget his name, but you have a tight end from the that was previously with the Saints last year, and he's actually been doing pretty well. I thought I would miss Hunter Henry a lot more than I actually am. I think there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of weapons on this team, and there's even some young guys that are developing uh, in the offense pretty well. So it seems like the Chargers are in a pretty good situation receiver wise. I don't know how long the contract is with the guy from the Saints. I assume it's 1 year. I wouldn't be surprised if they re-sign him next year.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I want to talk about Mike Williams' contract real quick because he is on the 5th-year option, and I mean, obviously, my opinion does not matter. But I would say that Mike Williams definitely needs to get paid when his contract is up at the end of this year. So if he keeps posting these 100 plus yards, then
Hmm.
he definitely deserves a contract extension.
Yeah. Yeah, he looks pretty good. Looking at the stats, he looks amazing. Uh, he actually has a lot of the receiving yards. He more than Travis Kelsey, in the game. So that was pretty good.
Okay, cool. All right. So, any other news that we should talk about before going into week 4 predictions?
No, I'm just hoping that no more players get injured. Um, yeah, it does look like a lot of teams are looking for cornerbacks as well. We just learned that Richard Sherman signed with the Buccaneers. So yeah, so basically, as much as there is like a mutual interest between Richard Sherman and the 49ers, he did end up choosing the Buccaneers. So I don't know when he's going to start playing for them because he still have like court cases. That's pending. So that's going to be interesting.
I agree. I think a lot of teams need help on defense, and I don't know that Sherman's going to be like an amazing player, but I definitely think he's going to be able to provide some veteran experience to that team.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, we'll see how that develops, and we'll keep you updated on any more
Hmm.
information regarding that. All right, NFL Week 4 predictions. Let's see, we got the Jags and the Bengals here. Who do you got?
They're not good teams, but I think Bengals will win this one.
Yeah, I think
Um,
given how they played last week, I think the Bengals have this locked in pretty much. I think the Jaguars are still going with the identity crisis. I mean, last season they were tanking on purpose to get a first round pick.
yeah,
Unfortunately, I think if they keep going at this pace, they're going to be tanking unironically, which is bad for everyone.
I just think it's very difficult here because where the team is going, right? Like Trevor Lawrence hasn't been playing that great, right? Because he had a pretty good games, but then he threw multiple interceptions. That itself is concerning. And I wouldn't say that he's the issue. I think it's the offensive line that is probably not good enough, right? Um, so there needs to be a lot of adjustments to this team, right? Like, I mean, if you think about, okay, maybe we should tank for maybe 4 or 5 years, then we'll pick up a lot of good players. But that's not how football works, right? Like, you can
Right.
only take so many times. Like, if you want 12 players or 11 players on the field, you're not going to tank 11 years, right? By then, Trevor Lawrence is like 11 years older, and then I don't
Right.
think he's going to be that good anymore. So, I hopefully they will figure out something, moving forward. But as of now, I just don't think they're that competitive, right? Like he's a good quarterback, but the thing is that if your offensive line and defense line are not good enough, then you're just gonna keep losing games.
I agree.
Hmm.
Titans, Jets. Do we even need to talk about this?
No, let's just go with the Titans.
Yeah.
It's the same issue with Zach Wilson. He's also a turnover machine. Somebody was commenting on his footwork. Like I think when he's under stress, he tend to panic and forgot his footwork. And
I
that
mean,
is
that O
bad.
line is just awful.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I just feel like you need to be very courageous to be a coach for any of those teams that are tanking right now.
I,
Um,
I don't even think the Jets are tanking. It's another situation where like they tanked before on purpose, and now
mhm.
they're tanking unironically.
Yeah, aren't they supposed to be better, right? Because like for them, I think the general opinion is that Zach Wilson is an upgrade to Sam Darnold, right? Um, so I don't know. Maybe they will prove us wrong. Maybe they will have one of those games where they beat the Rams like last year.
Right.
uh, but I don't think that's gonna happen because like the Rams don't have Jared Goff anymore, right? So like I don't see that happen unless Matthew Stafford just like something weird happened to him. But otherwise, I don't really see the Jets win that many games. Like, let's say if they actually won like 3 or 4 games, that would be considered pretty good for them this season.
Right.
Um, that's kind of insulting. But then I think the way they're going with this, it does feel like if they win 3 or 4 games, uh, that's a possibility there, right?
Chiefs and the Eagles. Um,
Chiefs.
yeah, I just don't think the Eagles have enough talent or enough coordination going on right now where they would warrant a defeat against the Chiefs. The Chiefs have been playing against some pretty good teams back
Hmm.
to back, so there's no way the Eagles lose here. I mean, there's no way the Eagles win here.
Yeah, I think the Eagles are still trying to find their identity. Um, right. So I definitely don't see the Chiefs to lose this game. I think they will be pissed off if they actually lose this game to the Eagles.
I think this would be the greatest upset of all time if the Eagles managed to win, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah, very unlikely. Hmm.
All right, Panthers Cowboys.
Oh,
This is rough, man.
well, I think this one is hard to say. I don't know. Like, can Sam Darnold, does what he does like in the last 3 games against the other teams, like against the Cowboys? I don't know. I kind of feel like I want to go with Cowboys on this one because I kind of like rooting against Cowboys the last game, but this one I'm gonna go with Cowboys. Of course, I would like to have the Panthers prove me wrong, but this one I'm just gonna say I think Cowboys might win this game.
Yeah, I think Cowboys are like just like really up there in terms of like being a top 10 team. And
Hmm.
the Panthers are they're good. I don't know like if they're great though.
They haven't played against really good teams yet, huh?
No, I think they've played
No.
against some pretty like mid to low tier teams.
Right. The Texans wasn't that good.
Nah,
So
nah.
yeah.
So I think this will be like the real test to see if the
Hmm.
Panthers are a good team or if they're just like they've just been getting lucky. So
Yeah.
we'll see. I agree with you. I still got the Cowboys here.
Hmm.
I just think that they're a more talented team. There's more names that one can recognize in this team.
Right.
I,
And then I think the
like you
NH
said
level
though.
is pretty good too. I think the team is honestly very excited about their season right now. They're playing great. So I think they will be able to carry the momentum into this game on Sunday.
Right. All right. The Giants versus the Saints.
The
The
Saints.
Saints. They're just one
I
good
don't. I
team.
really, honestly, I don't know what's going on with the New York teams, but both of them are 0-3. Um, so
Do you think it just
I just don't know
continues?
what's going on with the Giants, to be honest. This one I really don't know, but I just feel like the Saints will destroy them. Like, but if not, then maybe the then surprise then.
Maybe. Yeah, I got the Saints.
Hmm.
Browns and Vikings. I got the Browns again. The
Okay, I'll pick Browns too. Um,
offense is too good. Um,
their defense is pretty good too, to be honest. Um, yeah.
yeah. Lions and Bears. This is a pretty bad matchup. Like this just
I
it looks incredibly boring. It's a 10
I don't
a.m.
know.
game. No one's gonna be watching this except like their own fans.
I don't know. Hey, maybe the Lions will win this one.
If they played like they did against the Ravens, I think Lions.
Uh-huh.
Uh, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like
I
these
don't
two
think Bears
teams
are
are like
good.
so weak that it could
Mm.
go either way.
Yeah, I just don't think I think it will be either way, but I think right now they're favoring Bears to win this game. Um I'm gonna go with the Lions as much as they suck. Like
Right.
I just don't think Bears are playing really good football right now. Um so yeah,
Okay. Texans and the Bills. The
Bills.
Bills. There's just no question here.
Hmm.
Josh Allen seems to be getting back into his 2020 rhythm, and so if he continues this, then they'll win easy.
Yeah.
Colts, Dolphins.
Dolphins.
When's Carson Wentz coming back?
I don't know. Maybe he's gonna say like maybe as we're talking about it, he's thinking about it. Maybe tonight he's gonna make an announcement saying, "Oh, I'm playing on Sunday," like that. Who knows, right?
Yeah, he's on. Oh no, that's Quentin Nelson.
Right, because Wentz he had like two sprained ankles, right? Um, so maybe he will feel better maybe today or tomorrow to practice, and then he might be playing on Sunday. But I feel like if he's not playing on Sunday, then I think Dolphins had a good chance. Will have a good chance to win.
I think he's gonna start against the Dolphins. So, because there's a report saying that he was gonna start against Tennessee, but that didn't happen.
Yeah, so we'll see. I think that I want to see Dolphins win more games. I'm weird, but I just feel like if Dolphins like tank this year, like which I don't think they will, but in the case they do, that will be very disappointing.
Yeah.
Because they were the only team that were 10-6 to make into the playoffs last season.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that was weird for me. Like I'm like, but they're good. But because I feel like they were in the wrong division.
Yeah, I couldn't find anything that would confirm that he's coming back for the Dolphins game. So we'll keep an eye on it as well.
For sure.
So yeah, I think this might be the chance for Tua to show that they can win against, a team. So I think the Colts take another loss here.
Right.
All right. Washington football team versus the Falcons. Who do you got?
I'll go with the football team. This is a close to.
Yeah, these two teams seem to be in the same zones. I think I'm personally going with the Falcons to win this game. I think they just have more to prove than the Washington football team. They're in a more difficult division, so to them maybe this is more of a key win.
Right.
Washington can fall like 4 games and still be in the playoff picture, whereas the Falcons, they have other teams in the division that are like difficult to play against. So I think for the Falcons, they're gonna want to win now instead of later.
Right, because you definitely want to win early on, right? Because I feel like the schedules later always put you to play against your division opponents, right?
Yeah, and they've won straight 6 games against Washington, so they might already be familiar on how to defeat them.
Yeah, possibly, yeah.
Okay, Niners and Seahawks. Who do you got?
I'm gonna go for Niners, even though I always have Rivers, because Niners, they have weakness, right? So like I feel like they don't have that solid quarterback. Like that was the issue. Um, I think Aaron Rodgers was able to exploit that, because he probably knew that the Niners didn't have good cornerbacks. So why not, just keep passing the ball to Devontae Adams. And I think Russell Wilson will do the same again. But I really want the Niners to win this game because I think there's something weird about Seahawks, right? And then maybe we'll be able to see it this Sunday. Like, what was weird about Seahawks, right? So I'm gonna go with Niners. I do feel like this is gonna be a close game, though. Like, I think if they win, they probably win by like between 3 points and 7 points at most, right? But if they somehow blow up the Seahawks, that would be fascinating. But I don't think that's gonna happen anyway.
No. I got this. I got the Niners here. Not because of the talent or how the Niners are playing. I think most of what I think the Niners are gonna win is due to the Seahawks' ineptitude to win games. So I think if I think if the Seahawks aren't a cohesive unit when they go on the field, like it's pretty much over. Like the Niners are gonna win. They
Yeah.
seem more of a team than the Seahawks do right now. So I
Hmm.
got the Niners winning this one.
Yeah, Lance, you mentioned that the Seahawks have a lot of good players too, but then, like you say, if they're not cohesive enough as a unit, then I think it's gonna be hard. I think, and if they're not cohesive enough, then there are more opportunities for mistakes. And I think for the most part, Niners are pretty good, like to pick up their mistakes, and I hopefully they will be able to do that this Sunday, and we'll see.
All right, another divisional battle. Cardinals and Rams.
Ooh.
It's gonna be a close one. Both the teams are undefeated. The Rams have played more caliber teams than the Cardinals,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm going to say the Rams win this one. They're
Yeah, I do
probably the
think
best
they're.
team right now.
I do think that Rams are pretty good. But just for fun, I'm gonna try to pick Cardinals. I think if they win, they're probably gonna win by a point or two. It's gonna be a closer one, but that's also how I say it about the Buccaneers game, Buccaneers versus the Rams. But that wasn't even close. Uh, so I'm just for fun, I'm gonna pick the Cardinals. But if the Cardinals lost, they probably lost by more than 10 points for sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Steelers and Packers. I think
Packers.
Packers. The
Yeah.
like you were saying before, Steelers just look awful right now. So
Mhm.
I mean the Packers easy. Um, I think there's some issues with the Packers that they look like they're sorting stuff out pretty quick.
Mhm.
So if they can keep working as a unit and the office and Aaron Rodgers aren't butting heads too much, then I think the Packers got this.
Yeah, I do think so too. I feel like Aaron Rodgers looked really comfortable out there, to be honest. So I think the Packers they're gonna win this game against the Steelers. Yeah, there's something weird about the Steelers. Big Ben isn't good enough, right? Like he's still like he's injured and he's not really good. So
Yep. Okay. Ravens Broncos. Who do you got?
oh, you know what? Why not 3-1? So let's go with the Ravens. I'm gonna go with the Ravens. I just feel like there's so much for Broncos to prove. I think this might be might be like what you said, right? Broncos haven't played really good teams, um, so it will be a test for Broncos. But I'm gonna go with the Ravens on this one.
Yeah, I want the Ravens to win, mostly because I don't want the Broncos to be top of the division anymore. They
Right?
have some really awkward wins against some really awkward teams.
Yeah.
So I don't know how good they are. I guess this will set the bar to see if they're good.
You know what? And then it's also like
It,
when the Ravens won against the Lions, they didn't really play that well that game. Like that was a low scoring game for the Ravens. Um, so I kind of expect them to play much better this Sunday. Um, and if not, then yeah, then maybe they need to make some adjustments.
right. Um, Bucks and Patriots.
Bucks.
Bucks as well.
I think this this game might be very bad. Bad in the sense that there there's no competition at all,
Yeah,
right? Between
symbolically, it's like Tom Brady's old team versus Tom Brady's new team, which is really weird to look at it. But if you look at it from like just talent wise, you have a team that in the Buccaneers that has a good head
Mhm.
coach and they have good talent on the field. While you have
Mhm.
a Patriots team that has a good head coach but unproven talent on the field.
Right.
So, I mean, Mac Jones isn't there yet. I think it's going to take the whole year for him to develop. He won't be good or really good until either end of this year or beginning of next year.
I do think so too, and I feel like expect that he will do some interceptions, like
Yeah,
I think that's gonna happen.
I just think he's gonna be under pressure
Mhm.
from being on the Sunday night game,
Yeah,
and he's just gonna make mistakes, and it's
yeah, he
fine as
will.
a rookie. That stuff happens.
Hmm.
Obviously, there's outliers, but yeah, I just don't think he's gonna do all that great, and the Buccaneers are just gonna win via veteran presence.
Right. Hmm.
All right, finally, my favorite game of the week: the Raiders against the Chargers, Monday Night Football, prime time.
Wow.
Lee, who do you got? Cause
I'm gonna go with the Chargers because I just wonder, like, I'm just gonna like a little bit spiteful about the Raiders. It's like I used to be like cheering for them, but they never do anything good. Like they kept losing. I think somehow the Raiders gonna mess up again, right? And so I think the Chargers might will win this one, and I think we'll be close. And there's a possibility they're gonna play overtime. Right? Remember last year?
yes,
Yeah, that that was wild, right?
the Oregon Bowl, as some people were calling it.
No, the funny thing was that the Raiders were so good, right? They're like you say, they were like A-1 or something like that, or at certain points they were like, oh yeah, they're gonna be in the playoffs for sure. And they started losing games, right? You say like after the loss to Chargers, they kind of like start declining, right? Um, and so I don't know, like you say, even though they seem to be more consistent now, uh,
It's too early to
it's
tell.
it's hard. Like I mean, if they have played like 10 games or 11 games, then I'll probably say, yeah, if they're like a 10-1, then I'll be like, okay, yeah, then maybe they have a good chance. But that's not that if like Chargers, like if Chargers were like a 11-1 or like 10-1 as well, then it's hard to tell, right? You could say, oh, both teams are really good. So like this one, I just like I'm gonna go with the Chargers because I think Chargers probably feel pretty good about themselves right now, especially after beating the Chiefs.
Yeah, definitely. I think the Chargers win this one as well. Maybe because I'm
Mhm.
biased.
Oh, they're a favorite right actually right now.
Oh, are they favored?
Yeah,
Well, they
they're a
just beat the
favorite.
Kansas City Chiefs, so that's probably
Yeah, I
why.
think that's why they're favorite. Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, I'm still gonna. Even if I wasn't biased, I think maybe I would lean for the Chargers regardless.
Mhm.
The Chargers do have to work on the illegal shifts because two or three of them were called last game. Again, maybe it's because I'm biased, but I didn't see anything that would cause an illegal shift. Uh,
Mhm.
but they have to clean up some of that stuff. Justin Herbert still needs to play the same game he played last week, but he also has to step up his passing yards this week because Derek Carr has around 400 yards per game right now.
Mhm.
So he is going up against a really good Derek Carr, and obviously he can't bank on Derek Carr getting injured like last time. So I
Right.
think it's gonna be a battle of the QBs on Monday, and if the Chargers defense can really like level up, get to that next level where they are a premier defense in the NFL, then I
Mhm.
think this game is it'll be a lot less close than we're thinking. If the
Yeah.
if the defense is just okay, then I think it's gonna be back and forth between these two teams. But I
Yeah.
think
So
there's just way too much talent on the Chargers defense for them to not be on the elite status for defense.
right, I agree. I think I feel like if Chargers defense will step up, then I don't think Derek Carr will have those amazing numbers. Yeah, I think he's still gonna be very effective, but I just don't think he's gonna have those like a 400 something yards on Monday.
Yeah, I agree.
Hmm.
All right. Is there anything else you would like to talk about, or should we wrap it up right now?
I think we should wrap it up. I think this is pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we talk a lot of stuff, and at least like I'm not rambling, you know,
Yeah. Well,
because
that's
I
what.
noticed that for the Niners, I feel like it was mostly the clock management thing that really frustrates me the most. I don't think any player was that bad. I actually thought like the fact that Jimmy G could do more than 20 yards to any receiver, and then they caught a ball. That was amazing to me, honestly. Because before it's almost like short pass, 5 yards, 7 yards, 9 yards, 10 yards, nothing more than that.
Yeah.
And the fact they were able to, caught his passing and then score a touchdown, I thought that was pretty good. So nothing against him. I just think that he was just being very unlucky, right? It was just just things don't go in his way. And then it's also very easy to say that, well, he should have been hot in the first 2 quarters, but it's very easy to lose sight that this is a football game. There are 4 quarters, right? So you can always come back. Like, so you shouldn't be like giving up, even though you're like trailing by 10 points in halftime. So it's very easy to lose sight on that and just criticize like, oh yeah, he sucked. Yeah, he's not like the elite quarterback, but I feel like given how much you pay him for the work that you want him to do, I think he's pretty good. At least he's not doing like 3 interceptions or 4 or like fumble like 10 times, right? So I thought that was pretty good from him. A lot of people say they want to see more from Trey Lance, but I think Niners are doing a good job to kind of like steering him away from other quarterback situations. If you look at Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, and Zach Wilson, I feel like what they're experiencing right now is a punishment than anything else.
Right.
And it's sad to say. I think even like Matt Jones was saying something like that. He kind of like he has that fear or something like that, like in his voice whenever he talks about the game or something like that. Even though his teammate trusts him a lot, but it was just hard to see those rookie quarterbacks what they have to, what they have gone through, being sacked and there's no support from the offense line, and it was just not pretty, right?
Right. Okay, so with that, we will wrap it up for this week. I've been Joseph Yanez. This has been Lee, and we will see you next week.
Yeah, take care.